Hello, and today we're going to review our analytics dashboard within your application. Now, the analytics are extremely fruitful for what your app is doing because it'll tell you a number of different things, but let's take a look at all the different ways that we can get there. First and foremost, from your dashboard page, you can customize these tile views to be able to show you a number of different things that you want, but your app sessions will always be visible here. So I can hit View Analytics, and that'll take me right to the analytics page, or under Manage and App Analytics, that's where I go to the main page. Once the analytics page loads, you can see I automatically have a number of different filters. I can look at the live app views or the preview app views if you want to ignore those or look at those. And I can also filter by the last 7 days, month to date, year to date, last month, and custom. Let's take a look at year to date for this particular application. You'll notice that the blue line is iOS, green is Android, and the magenta or the pinkish is the web app. You'll notice too that I can also turn them off, so I can view these lines separately or all together. And if I hover over them, I'll see what the total is for that period. Also on the graph, if you'll notice, I can hit all these little pinpoints and it'll tell me information based upon the months and what the total was in terms of app sessions. I can do the same exact thing for feature visits, which feature visits will actually, if you slide left and right, you'll be able to see how everything works. And you'll see that the Messages Center for this particular application, as well as VIP Awards, are the top 2 features that people visit over the past 6 months. I can ignore Android and ignore web app if I want, and my graph will get a lot cleaner. I can also deselect platforms, and I can actually make changes based upon what people are doing. I notice that on Android devices, not very many people look at messages, but a lot of people look at VIP rewards. So that's something for me to know for my Android users and what's important for them. I may move my marketing around for that. I can also see the app type that's being used. So 53% of my users are using iOS devices or the iOS app. 28% is the web app and 19% of the Android users. What does that tell me? My web app and my iOS app get a ton of activity. I can also see the total number of downloads here for both iOS and Android, which is real nice. And then I can take a look at this next section, which is the average time in app. Holy cow. So on average, users spend 3.4 minutes in the iOS app, 1.2 minutes in Android, and 3.2 minutes in the web app. It's crazy. So I have people who are spending almost equal amount of time in iOS and the web app and not as much in the Android. So again, I may want to market to my Android users, or a lot of my users who are coming in happen to be iOS or web app users. This is great knowledge to be able to understand. These analytics make all the difference. And then in these 2 sections, we have the devices and browsers. Devices is what devices they're actually using. If we look at like iPhone, Android, and then other is they're using a Windows device, an iPod, it's unknown, a Mac, they're using an iPad, they're using a computer. That could be PWA, could be just devices we just don't recognize. And then for browsers, you're going to see the breakdown of what browsers are being used for my web application. So 76% of my web app users use Chrome, 19% use Safari. This tells me that potentially a lot of my users are using the Chrome app, which is great to understand. And down at the end, you can see global impact. This is probably one of the cooler sections in the app analytics, but you can see the countries here and the reach of how many people from these particular countries have downloaded the application. Which I think is actually really cool. This kind of shows you your global impact in terms of your app. And this data can be used for a number of different things, from marketing to rearranging your application to understanding how the features are being visited, to rearranging certain features that you want to have more. For example, let's just take a look at the iOS visits. And let's say that I want the follow and review us to get more. Maybe I'm going to move that into the top 5 slot, or make sure it's on my home screen, or do something differently with it. Maybe I want the drinks or the reservation to be moved up higher. There's a number of different things that I can do knowing this data. I also can tell that in January, we had a huge spike in iOS and it slowly started to turn downward. So what did we do differently in January that we did in June? So there's a number of different things you can come from these app analytics, and I really believe that this page is so powerful for the small businesses that we are serving. Thank you so much for watching today.